Hi there. Hi, thank you for joining. Thank you for being here with me in this moment. This is like an extra class if you want. I just feel the need to speak and to share and to have this moment with you. That's the most important part. Like I want to share this moment with you in the recognition of our oneness and in the recognition of the love of our Creator, of the love that joins with every aspect of the universe, and so with you, and so with me. That is in fact a very amazing realization that you have right there. Yes. So I'm really happy that you logged on, or that you started watching this video. Um, I've been reading a little bit in the Art of Spiritual Healing, a book by Joel Goldsmith that is like always attractive to me ever since I knew about Joel. And but I the the art of spiritual healing, like even the name already was very inspiring. Why? Because of the word art, probably. It's like it's an art. It's like art. It's like creating art. But then this is the real creation of say the realization of wholeness. So it is not so much that we make something, it's more like we recognize that what is already there is really true. Like the love of God is already there. The love of God is pouring down of us, in us, on us, however you want to say that, in every instant. It's just that we forget about it, and that we think that something else is more important, or that we don't have to realize that our good is coming from God, from the universe, from what love is. Like we get distracted by what we see or what we think, and that becomes very important for us, and very much like that's what we want. And in the meantime, we forget that the connection, the communication that's occurring naturally in us is giving us everything that we want, and we can totally live in our daily lives with this live stream running through us, having totally different reflections than we would have if we trust our own ideas. So that brings us to the idea of healing. So that the idea of healing then is the recognition of this wholeness, is the recognition that truth is already true, that God already created everything perfect. There's no exception to it and whatsoever. So we keep looking for the exceptions, like, well, this is still part of it because I see illness, so there's got to be like an illness. Or I'm still not like a millionaire, I don't have enough money in the bank, and now what? Is that perfection? So all these questions we all have, like there's nothing new about it, and they can be circling around in your mind. They can like become like an obsession. They Anything is possible with it, but you keep yourself busy with it. That's for sure. It's not like a neutral thought or anything like that. It keeps you busy. It keeps you getting up in the morning and running off to work to make more money or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not good or anything. No, that's nothing to do with it. It's just that I want to share that, to recognize the stillness in yourself and to share that in wherever you go is a totally different way of living. And and it's more like, yeah, you allow that to happen in your life. You come to the point where you let go of other things or other ideas, and you just start to share the stillness and the silence instead of the noise of the ego mouth, so to speak. Um, So the idea of healing is the recognition or the revelation of your wholeness in every situation. Like I said, there's no exception to it. But you can see in the reflections that you get, like in the things that you see, you can think that something is wrong. You can think like, what is this? What is occurring in my life? And then not knowing what to do, but to become aware that you can stand still and ask for help, and that you just allow the stillness to come to you. Of you start to connect with the stillness inside of you, can be totally helpful, because the idea of a conflict or a problem can just dissolve right away. And there's an alternative to all the human problems that you face. There's an alternative that is already totally amazing. So you think that you got to solve the world's problems, or the things that come up in your life, that you have to solve them, and you find all kinds of ways, or you hire a shrink or whatever to get through your personal stuff, or and that's one way to do it, but it doesn't mean that it gets solved. Like the real salvation or the solving of your problems will be in the recognition of the wholeness that you are. And by completely joining with that, what problem could you have? And if you are in an experience of your connection with everyone, and your connection with your neighbor, and your connection with the whole universe, then there's no space literally for the idea of something that isn't perfect. So this is where I want to meet you on the process, not to be in this spiritual perfection the whole time, but more like, what's happening on the way to the revelation of this wholeness. What is occurring on your path of the infinite way, or whatever way you are following, because it's a universal, like, it doesn't matter what path you choose. Sorry. It doesn't matter what path you choose. It's more like, no, you will face this anyway. It doesn't matter. So the infinite way is one way to do that. And The Art of Spiritual Healing, the book that Joel was writing some years ago, it seems like, can be very helpful. It can be very helpful. And I will read a couple of lines out of it, and I extracted some principles out of it that I want to share with you. So I would say sit back and relax, and why not let this completely affect you, and see what happens with that. So one of the extracts that I found was this: spiritual healing is the touch of Spirit of God in man's soul. And the fact that that's occurring is an awakening to a new dimension of life. Spiritual healing is the touch of Spirit of God in man's soul. Awakening to a new dimension of life. So it's not just like, okay, I'm being touched by the light of God, and now suddenly I'm healed of my disease or something like that. No, the transformational part of this path is that something is completely changing when you step into this. It is completely changing. And in a way that you basically are born again. And I know all these words are sort of like contaminated, or sound cliche maybe, but this is with words I cannot explain it anyway. It's just that I can demonstrate it by showing who I am, and I don't have to prove anything with that, so the idea of being touched by the Spirit of God, you recognize that. You recognize that happened to you. It might happen many times. It might have happened in a very subtle way, that you had like, wow, this is different. I hear a different dimension I hear it in such a different way. Wow, that really strikes me. That's really beautiful. And my personal experience was the first time my soul was touched, like consciously, was at the moment of that I felt that I was afraid of everything. Like I was in a state of fear, and I had like, well, this cannot continue forever. I become so much aware that everything I choose and everything I do is based on fear, and I want to get out of that. And then when I say surrendered myself into this fear by literally laying down on the ground and saying like, okay, fear, come and get me. That was basically the start of my first spiritual experience. So suddenly everything around me became completely quiet. And there was like a beautiful light coming into the place where I was. I was in the middle of a forest. And instead of a lot of wind or anything, it became completely quiet. And I could literally listen. I could hear the perfection in everything. It was like I could just hear like a universal clock tick in such perfect rhythm that no one could ever thought of that. So that was a total surprise to me. And in that time, my soul was touched. And that has a lot of impact. To me, it had a lot of impact. So one of the things that happened was that I discovered that it shook the memories in my body, like it shook up memories in my body. So some old pain or some old cold ideas came up, and I could cry my way through them and warm myself up. I got really cold many times. Like after that, it took about a month or 3. It was like I had to literally go under the shower to warm myself up. I froze up literally all the time. And then after some like half an hour under the shower, I could cry this out of my system. That was just how it went with me. It's not that everyone has the same way of living this awakening. So, and it doesn't really matter in what form it comes. I'm just telling this as an example of like it is a cellular recognition of the truth. So it shakes up something in your body too, because you are connected to this memory package. So all your memories are stored in here, whether it's in your genes or whether it's in your muscles, it doesn't matter. But by having a sudden shift in your consciousness, your body will do something, because your cells literally are starting to discover the frequency and want to get rid of, say, ideas that cannot be in there anymore. So it will change. It will change your body, and that was pretty obvious with me. And one other thing was that I couldn't sleep, so I just slept for a couple of hours a night, just maybe an hour or 2, and that was it. And that for weeks and weeks and weeks. And of course, that has a big impact on your surroundings. So the people around me were wondering what the hell was going on, and I could hardly explain it, because I was so in the process, and I was so so busy with that in a certain sense of so just undergoing this, that I only spoke like in images and like that. So that was very confusing for my surroundings. And and at the same time, I was looking for for staying in peace and being completely open, because I was very much interested in what was going on at the same time. So that is just my example, say, of, and my experience of that my soul was being touched by the light of God. And yes, it's like what they say too, what Joe said, like awakening to a new dimension of life. Now, well, I can tell you that after this experience of me, I had no idea. Basically, I had no idea how to live as a regular, so to speak, human being anymore. I just had seen something different, and also I have seen the unreality of the reflections that I get, so that they shift and change all the time. And this is totally connected in the way you think and the way you see yourself. So to have this as a process in you going on, it's like, no, your life quality is, it's like a shift in consciousness. It is a complete change. I was literally, in that sense, born again. And that was not the end of the process. It's not like, okay, now I got my goal reached, and I'm cool and fine with that now. No. So it continues and continues, because it becomes, in a certain sense, a way of life. Like your frequency can change over and over and over and over again. So that whatever needs to come up for healing will come up. And even today, I have still stuff going on, so to speak. There's still ideas or memories or things that need blessing, if you want to say it like that need healing. And that I'm able to go through this process, and you are able to go through this process very consciously, and sharing it with, undergoing this process by consciously blessing situations, persons, or memories that need to be free, or that want to be free. So this is just a total surprise that I'm sharing this, but I love it. That see, all is given. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you're doing in that sense. It doesn't matter what situation you are. The situation you find yourself in right now is the perfect place for your awakening. You don't need to go anywhere for it. It's not that you have to go to the mountains to sit in a cave or anything like that. No, this is perfect. You are exactly in the right place at the right time to undergo your transformation. So you can continue, or you can have your first glimpse of a new quality of life that's being given by the Spirit of God, the light of God, however you want to say it. Like, all these words don't even matter. You know what I'm talking about. I know that for sure. And that's why I'm so excited that we can communicate like this. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you so much for being here. That's so awesome. Thank you. So I have one more abstract or principle, whatever you want to call it. And oh yeah, so the nature of God is wholeness, is perfection. The nature of God is wholeness or perfection. It is not that we have to live like a perfect spiritual life or something like that. No, perfection is already there. It's more like, if you want to live in this awareness, it's good to train yourself to become more and more aware that this is the nature of all things. Like, perfection is the nature. If you see something that doesn't seem to be whole, you missed it. You just missed what is being presented. So you will have, in that sense, you have to ask for help and want to see it in a different way, so you can discover what is the real gift that is being given. What is the real gift that's behind this image? Or what is the real gift in this encounter that I have with this person that doesn't seem to be very nice to me at this point? And it's not that you have to be, say, occupied with it or obsessed by it, and that you have to wait and wait and wait and wait until you see it or something. No, that is not necessary either. It's more like your awareness will show you, like your focus on this idea will show you the perfection behind it all. And but if you get stuck in a situation or something happened that wasn't very nice, then it's good to sit down and really look at, like, okay, what memory does need blessing? You know, that's a good question to ask. So Spirit, tell me what situation or person or object needs blessing in this moment. And then just wait what comes to you, and forgive and bless this object, person, or situation. And so it can be free. Like, there are still situations, persons, and objects that are not forgiven or blessed. And that's why they come into your awareness. That's why they show up. That's why you don't like that person, or you don't like the place, or you don't like the object. Something is not completely free of, like, it isn't neutral. It is not. It doesn't matter how it is. If that is still the case, then there's something to do. And you're being invited to stand still and look at it and allow something else to occur, something new to see. So it's very much like you are discovering the perfection of God, the wholeness of God. Like, this is maybe a great example. at least for my memory, it's a good one. It's like when you fall in love with someone, it's not so difficult to see the perfection of this person. And people say, well, you're on a pink cloud or whatever. It's like, okay, well, that's beautiful. But if you see the perfection of this person, so this is a real possibility to see the wholeness in this person. And it might only take a couple of days that you think, like, I didn't see this. Well, that's a little different than I expected. That doesn't matter in that sense, but it's more like you have the experience of seeing the perfection in this person. And so you have this opportunity, or you have this capability. And the same with the things that you're going to see as whole, you will have the same feeling in a certain sense. It's like you fall in love, not so much with a thing or anything, but more like you fall in love because of the connection that you feel. Like, you know that that object or this person or situation is giving you an opportunity to experience the wholeness. And that is a gift. That's a gift from the light of God, or however you want to say that. It's like, it's a real gift to experience it like that, and to if you experience it before, you know what I'm talking about. But this is good to practice. It's a good opportunity to see things as whole and communicating. Whole means it communicates with every aspect of the universe. So that is a different feeling. Like I said, it looks like falling in love. It's like you see the perfection, and it's a total gift. You have like, wow, how did this ever happen to me? And that can be the same with situations or things that were disturbing before. But if you see the wholeness in it, then you have the same response in a certain sense. It's like, that's the same, like, oh my God, I have missed this. I could not see this. And through the fact that I forgave, or that I let it speak for itself, not putting any judgment upon it, I forgive myself my judgment in that sense. I can see it for what it is, and I've never seen something beautiful like that. So that is a total gift. That is the gift of seeing the perfection and the wholeness of God. So the same, of course, with the people that you meet that are ill or that have certain intense moments in their lives. You know how to contact with someone. You know how to do that. You can completely trust your moves in that sense. You can trust what you do. You can trust what you say. If your intention is to open the communication with this person. And communicating is, of course, not talking or anything. It can be, but it's not the only way of communicating. You know, you can, with your heart, you can extend your love. With your hands or arms, or however you want to do that, you can extend love to a person. But it's more like you look for the communication, for the openness to basically to experience together the oneness that is the true nature of your being. Just like I'm doing with you right now. Like I got nothing to hide. I'm only, like I only want to communicate with you from heart to heart in this oneness, in this perfection. And for a moment forget all of the world. And when we both do that, and when that is occurring, then of course that is helping your body to heal, helping the situations in your life to heal. It's not for the purpose of that, but it's like a side effect of it, because everything starts to resonate more in the frequency of wholeness instead of the frequency of struggle and despair and disease. So yeah, I'm very happy that you joined with me in this, because you can never be healed alone. This is love extending itself all throughout wherever we are, touching people that we don't even know. So you're never healed alone. So that's to me a real art. The art of healing is really that. It's like you don't have to worry about what the effects will be, but the fact that you're willing and open to extend yourself, extend the love that you are to everyone without any exceptions, is creating a whole new life, is creating a whole new way of being. And yeah, so I'm totally happy that you're here and listening to this. And I would say see you next time. Tomorrow night will be a class on Sunday, and this is just a spontaneous class coming in between. And hope to see you soon. Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.